Scream 2022 is out on digital now. Let's get into it.
What's your favorite scary movie? Amen.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Well, I'm Pennywise the dancing now.
Oh, Lord on the beast!
God, don't do that.
But sometimes, death is better.
Hey everybody, what's up? KillJoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Today we are talking about Scream 5, Scream 2022, the latest Scream film that has just come out, and it is officially out on digital today. We're also going to be talking about some of the deleted scenes that you can now check out with the movie. So now before I get into that, I'm going to need y'all to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Also, if you are unaware, I am currently running a Kickstarter campaign to get a movie made. I'm trying to make a Scream fan film right now. It's called Red Right Hand, and it's going to be from the perspective of the killers this time around. It's a really interesting and crazy concept for a Scream movie, and I would really love to make it. So if you guys could fund that project, the link for that will be in the description below. There are some crazy deleted scenes out there for Scream 5. Some of them that I feel like should have definitely stayed in, and some of them not so much. Actually, the majority of them not so much. We're gonna get into why in just a second here though. So the first one is Sam talking to Mindy right before she realizes there are no cops at the hospital where her sister is. Now, it's a very pointless conversation in my opinion. It's Sam talking to Mindy, just kind of telling the audience exactly what's happening. What I liked about that scene in the movie was you already knew what was going on without like dialogue. You knew what was going through Sam's head, that she was worried about her sister and she's freaked out that the cops aren't there. She's like, why aren't you at the hospital? What's going on? And the Chester Tam's character is just like, I heard about the sheriff. I had to come here. I'm sorry, I didn't know what to do. And she totally knows that it's a ruse. The other Ghostface killer is going after Tara now. So I think that this scene is unnecessary because you're telling the audience something that they don't need to they don't need to know. We already knew that. We knew that Sam was freaking out because, oh my god, there's no one watching her sister at the hospital, and this scene seems a little pointless, so I can understand why they cut it. Now, the next scene I feel like is actually pretty interesting, and it goes along with the other two deleted scenes that we know for sure are a part of this movie so far. So Dewey gets beat up by Vince at like that bar or arcade place that they're at or whatever, which is so weird because like these are 18-year-old kids for the most part that are there, and then Dewey's also there drinking, so it's like a really weird like what's going on here. So Vince starts beating up Dewey for whatever reason. Like Dewey just said something nasty to him, and Dewey's kind of sloshed. That's how he is in his old age, I guess. He's a wet brain alcoholic, which is really sad. Yeah, just everything about Dewey from this movie makes me so sad. But he gets the shit kicked out of him by Vince, and it's one of those scenes where it's like, wow, yeah, Vince is a jerk. He should probably die. So. And that happens literally in the next scene. So, I mean, I can see that. It feels a little unnecessary, though. I think that we could have used this scene. We could have shown a little more of Dewey having relationships with more of these characters, if they're good or bad in this scenario. But it just feels unnecessary. Like, what was Dewey doing there? Is he just listening to this conversation between these kids about the Ghostface killer? Is he stalking them or something? Like, did he hear about that or whatever? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. I kind of wish we had a little, if we're going to add that scene in, maybe have a little more explanation. Once again, I understand why it got cut, but I do kind of would like to see this avenue explored maybe more with this movie. If Dewey had heard about Tara getting attacked by a Ghostface killer, maybe he's going and like stalking the kids because like he's trying to figure out like what's going on. Like, is there a Ghostface killer? He wants to figure out which one of them is the killer because it's always someone that's part of the friend group that Dewey would establish later on, or we'll talk about later on. Then there's another scene that goes along with this scene where Dewey is being questioned by Sheriff Judy Hicks. And this is my favorite deleted scene, honestly. I love this because we needed another scene between Judy and Dewey. Not necessarily because like I want them to get together or some BS like that. I just think it was cool to see how their relationship has grown since the last movie, which was over 10 years ago. So it's like, what are they talking about now? What is their relationship status? Dewey's been single for a pretty long time, as we could see from this movie. So like, did they hook up? You know, I have questions. There's little things I want to know like that here and there. We don't get any of those questions answered, but we do kind of see that they're like still friends and they're still like talking about what's going on in the town of Woodsboro, police wise. So like it's interesting, but I see why it was cut. It wasn't the most interesting scene in the movie, and it doesn't really further the plot. So when Sam comes to his door though, and he like kind of figures out, like he learns about all the Ghostface killings, I feel like that works better than for him to find out about it beforehand, because I feel like he wouldn't refuse the call as much, if you know what I'm like. That's kind of like the hero's journey in like literature and all that, is like there's that refusal of the call, but then it's like, oh, you know what, okay, I'm here. And do we see Dewey go through that in this movie? I feel like if he finds out about that beforehand, you kind of ruin that momentum. So I understand why they cut this whole sequence, because it kind of breaks that hero's journey arc that Dewey had in this movie. So I understand why it was cut. But I would have loved to have seen another scene with Dewey and Judy talking together, maybe with some more interesting dialogue too. It wasn't anything super crazy. It was just kind of them talking about what's going on in Woodsboro right now. It didn't, like I said, it doesn't really further the plot at all. Now, I feel like there's definitely more deleted scenes. Like, I have not actually gotten I have not bought it on digital, so there might actually be more deleted scenes, more behind-the-scenes stuff that I have not seen yet. I'm waiting for the physical release that will come out on April 5th, though. I ordered the Steelbook. I'm very excited for it. So there's a few more things that I wanted to mention that I feel like are definitely more deleted scenes that we just don't have yet. One of the biggest things is Vince's death. That feels so cut down for time, and I want to see more. And there's actually evidence out there that there is more of this scene. In the trailer, we get this shot at literally the same location where we see Ghostface's shadow on that back wall of the bar, and he starts T-posing. So I'm really curious as to like what else happened in this death scene. Like how crazy did it get? Did Ghostface maybe go over and start stabbing him or something, and then like you just has this ending shot where he's like this on the wall and you can see his shadow? That would be kind of cool, because you also got to consider this. Where we ended that scene in Scream 5, Ghostface is still standing on the side of the car, right? So to be in front of the lights, he'd have to move in front of the light and possibly be killing Vince and then standing up and then doing the T-pose thing. So with spatial logic, you can already infer that yes, there is a longer scene here that was cut. So that's probably in the deleted scenes reel, and I would love to see it. That's the thing I'm probably anticipating the most, is to see the extended version of Vince's death. Now, there's another shot, there's this creepy shot of Judy from the trailer. I have absolutely no idea where they could have fit this into the movie. There's this shot of her, and she's in a dark room, she's wearing her sheriff's uniform, and she's just got this devilish smile on her face. It's from the trailer. I have zero idea where this could have been placed in the movie. Maybe there's a part where we convince the audience that Judy's a red herring again. I don't know, honestly. There's a part of me that would love to see Judy as a Ghostface killer, being like in charge of the cops and all that, but obviously that was not the route they went with this new film. I still think it would have been interesting if we had that route of having more red herrings. A criticism of this film that I had was there wasn't enough of that. There wasn't enough of that misdirection towards, oh, this character could be Ghostface. Oh, this character could be Ghostface. We had a little bit of it here and there, but not enough to satisfy the mystery, if that makes sense. There's also this shot from a very, very quick shot from the trailer where we see Dory. I almost said Dory. This isn't Finding Nemo. We see Dewey coming out of the storage room at the hospital. This is probably just an extended sequence of when Dewey is saving Richie to get to the elevator, and he looks like he's like searching, or he's looking around for the Ghostface killer, and it looks like there's a scene where he walks out of the storage room where Amber later attacks him from. So doesn't make a whole lot of sense spatially. Like why would he be going in there, and how would he not see like Ghostface sitting in the corner or something, just waiting for him? So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I feel like this was probably something that was cut because of like dumb spatial logic, and they were just like, yeah, that doesn't work, so let's cut it. The scene actually does feel a little long. I think the purpose of that, though, is so that you can have that jump scare when Ghostface jumps out and attacks Dewey. So I don't know. I'm thinking that's probably why it was cut for spatial logic and time, because this movie would have been like 2 hours and 20-something minutes with all these scenes probably. If you guys are excited to see more of these deleted scenes and the gag reel, the behind-the-scenes stuff of Scream 5, please let me know about it in the comments below if there's anything I might have missed as well. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Also, if you could support that Kickstarter I was talking about, it would just make my absolute day. We only need $5 grand, and we're already 25% of the way there. So if we can just get that full $5 grand, we can make a whole ass Scream movie, man. I mean, that would be so cool. And it's from the killer's perspective. You have literally never seen a Scream movie like that before. That's what we're trying to do. That is what we're aiming to do, is to do something that the audience has just never seen quite before. So make sure to check that out. The link for the Kickstarter will be in the description below. Thank you all again for watching, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.